Welcome to a brand new show. It's called Community Roundtable. I had to bring in the community advocate, Uganda Sample Jones. Hey, y'all, welcome her to the stage. How's it going?
All is well. I am so excited to be here on this platform. I'm learning so many great things. This is amazing. Thank you. It's an honor. And
Oh,
I'm
you're more than
excited to
welcome.
get
Thank you.
talking. Let's get talking.
For a long time, I don't think that I truly understood community very well.
Mhm.
In the earlier parts of my adulthood, I was in the army. I was bouncing around all over the world and stuff. And I didn't really get to see the struggles that everybody may have been going through who had children, married, whatever those struggles were. I was kind of like living out my dreams and stuff,
Yeah.
but it took my 30s, being married, being more stable, one house, not really, jumping from helicopter to helicopter kind of lifestyle anymore, and to really see what's going on in the community,
Mhm.
and what type of challenges that we're facing, and trying to figure out the solutions required to get through what we're dealing with. What can you add to that?
Well, it's definitely, I understand that because when you're young, you're in your 20s, you're living life as, one day you don't really think about things until you're able to slow down. But most people don't think about certain issues until they're actually affected by that issue. Um, for case in point, I've been an activist even before I even knew what an activist was. Right, my dad had us in the back of stores, and it'd be grown people around us talking about things that I had no idea. I just know I didn't want to be there. It was boring, but that was instilled in me as a child. So when I got older and I experienced what life has to offer, there in certain things, I found myself in certain circumstances. I learned how to fight through that because it was already embedded in me. Activism was already embedded in me. And certain things that I fight for now, it's not um because not necessarily I didn't see it as an injustice. I knew it was wrong. I knew that police brutality is wrong. I know that murder is wrong. I know that killing someone is wrong. But it wasn't until my nephew was murdered by senseless gun violence that I got active on the issue. If that makes sense. I started actually working and supporting groups that are pioneers in gun violence like Abyss, Latanya Wallace and the program, Victor program that she's kicking off. She's amazing at what she does. The Catch More kids, Chanel Catch More, people that are really working boots on the ground. Chris Moore and Bags for Kids, boots on the ground with activities for our children.
That's amazing. I really appreciate you sharing that. And can you say your friend's name one more time?
Abyss, Latanya Wallace. Well,
All
Latanya
right.
Denson, excuse me. Latanya Denson. Her program, she has working with some phenomenal people, Miss Breckenridge, Latoya Breckenridge. The program that they're bringing to Newport News in the Marshall
Do you know the website?
don't, but I can get it.
Okay. All right. Cool. Yeah, I'm gonna put it up on the screen for all our viewers at
Yep.
home, so they can tap in and they can show some support to Miss Latanya. So thank you very much. While you're finding that number, I'm gonna go a little deeper into my journey of community. I've often ride my bicycle through Newport News, Hampton, Seaford, Yorktown, Williamsburg, and I'm able to see a more intimate view of what's going on in the cities. So I see a lot of people winning. I see a lot of I see a lot of money moving. I see a lot of
Mm.
cars moving. I see a lot of things moving, right? But I've also had a chance to be a homeless shelter manager,
Okay.
and I got to see that side of what's going on in the community. And that was a tough side to see. A lot of illness and disease, as well as just lack of connection, lack of different things. And are there some initiatives that you know of that the community has got in place to help the homeless?
Absolutely. So the city of Newport News has actually created a new division, I would say, is against the homeless, for homeless people who are experiencing homelessness and the resources that they receive. So
Mm,
ideally, people who are in experiencing homelessness, they can get out of it with the programs that are offered within 30 days. Um, and excuse, that's actually the naming committee. The website for the homeless is Four Oaks Day Center. So if you could go, you can actually go to that web to the search field that was in there. um, I really suggest people familiarize themselves with the city's website because there's so many great resources up there, and that's where you'll also find a Four Oaks Day Center. It's under social services, which is, I think, pioneering because in order to address the barriers that people have to be able to stay in a home, you have to come with wraparound services. You have to address not only the fact that they don't have a home, but they may not be making enough money to be able to afford a home. The price of rent has
absolutely.
tripled, quadrupled in some cases, and people are finding themselves homeless and they're working 40 hours a week. You know,
Sure.
you have to be in a two-family household to be able to make it these days. So the resources that are available are scarce. But
Sure.
one thing that we do with my company that has helped us be successful is when we receive a homeless case or someone who is facing homelessness, we triage them. We see what barriers there are, whether
That's amazing.
talked about whether it's low income, whether they have an addiction. And addiction doesn't always look like drugs or alcohol. It could be food. A lot of us spend a lot of money on spending eating out. So being able to be financially responsible. We teach personal development classes that help people that just figure out their household budget. It is beautiful to see that aha moment when people are like, oh, I am wasting a lot of money here. Let me save that or put it into something. So, whether the barrier is financial literacy, whether it's they need to increase their income, Four Oaks Day Center addresses all of those issues. They could connect the
That's
job.
awesome.
They're put with case managers. The case managers work with the individual to connect them to the different partners that they have. They also
Sure.
have Southeast um, Southeastern clinic that addresses people there. I'm sorry, I'm trying to think of the name. It will come to me.
While you thinking of the name, and thank you so much for all that information, because definitely for all those out there who need the help, or you have family members or friends, loved ones who need the help, Four Oaks on Warwick Boulevard. It's the old U.S. Marine building,
Yeah.
U.S. Marine Reservist or U.S. Marine National Guard, whatever that it was, a USMC building. But I do want to welcome a legend to the stage. All right. We got Miss Renee Foster in the building. I'm about to bring her to the stage. Hey, y'all hit the chat. Y'all say what's up, okay? What's going on, Miss Renee? How you doing?
I'm well. How are you? Long time no see.
It's
Oh
been
my
a while.
goodness.
Yeah, it's a pleasure
Yeah.
to see you. Yeah, you're looking good.
Pleasure.
I like your hair.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, changed up since you last saw me.
So we're diving deep into what's going on in the community and how we can bring empowerment to the community, how we can serve the community. What are some of the ways that you think that the people out there can serve their individual communities, no matter where they're at?
Definitely from my lens, food security is a big issue in a lot of our Black and Brown communities. So whether that's having an entity registered with the food bank to open somewhat of a food pantry, or if you're like me, I started a urban farm that actually we host a farmers market on site for the community members. and we make sure that the prices are still affordable. And also, we're able to accept other benefits so they can shop with us and grab some healthy food. So, and then that all plays a part in a healthy community, right? If you don't have access to healthy food, then how can you be healthy physically as well?
That is a really good point. Healthy food, you already know that's one of my main things right there. Root tribes, that's what we're all about, is making sure that we're consuming whole foods for whole health. And I am a personal experiencer of that farmers market, how amazing it is. I have ate the figs directly off the tree myself. All right. I got some of them greens up out the garden. Matter of fact, I think I was the one who identified the callaloo that was growing out there. Yeah, I brought
Definitely.
some of that
Yep.
callaloo back to the house.
You sure did.
Yeah,
And it
yeah,
still
yeah.
pops up everywhere.
Okay, all right, all right. So Miss Uganda,
Yes.
when it comes down to education,
Mhm.
what are some of the challenges that we're facing in the community, and how do we solve these issues in education?
Hmm. So, education, Renee, you can pop in because I know me and Renee talk very closely in the community about education, very passionate. But with the education, with Newport News particularly, we have children, especially elementary school, and these are the formative years where we're should stay close and know what have an active relationship with the schools. Our children are bused out of our community. Sometimes it's maybe 15, 20 miles outside of our community from their home. And that causes two problems. One, the parent isn't able to engage when they're working, and have to find time to take off of work, or get home to get other children together. There's just so many circumstances where if the school is close in a neighborhood, it makes it easier for parents to be able to gauge with not only the school but the teachers of their student, of their children. And then also children in this community are getting up at sometimes 5:30, 6 o'clock to get on a bus at 6:30. So they're on a bus for maybe 2 hours at a time before they can actually engage in school. Um,
Wow.
those are
Yeah.
two things that can absolutely be solved by our school board. I know Dr. Best, Terry Best, has championed this at several different times, but we're looking forward to actually having some more schools built in our community. We have the
Sure.
Huntington alumni that have been fighting, as well as parents, to get our middle school back, and it is being built as we
That's
speak.
awesome.
Yeah, we have schools that are in our community, like the STEM Academy. If you remember the old Magruder School, and
Yeah.
redone, and it's a state of the art school, but there's children that live right there beside it that aren't zoned for that school. They're still bused
Mhm.
15, 20 miles outside of our community. And that poses a problem when we have state of the art schools in our community, but the children that are right there um, can't take part in that. Um, is definitely something that we can solve.
I really appreciate you adding that, because that is a really big deal. Miss Renee, that brings me to my next point that I kind of want to touch. What is the connection between the issues with education and food security?
Oh, great question. Wow. So I go back to say, how can a child learn if they're hungry, right? Um, Food is that thing that fuels the body. And if you can't fuel the body properly, then how can a child actually go to school, sit through school, learn? Um, whether they say behavior issues and things of that nature. And I feel like having the proper food and the proper nutrition is one of those key things to making sure that a child is able to be educated. And I look at education from a whole lot of different lenses, not just school itself, but even education and exposing kids to different things in within the community and outside of the community, so that they can see things from a different side of a different place from where they are. I think
Let's
those two
let's
things are key.
Let's dive into that for a second, right? So
Mm-hmm.
obviously one side of this equation is students.
Mm-hmm.
How does the food security and the education challenges that we're facing, how does it affect teachers and administration?
So I feel like that's where the teacher has the hard time of, knowing what to do with that child at that point because, and they're looking at it. This is my belief. It's not rooted in evidence of facts that I found, and maybe I should look for it. But I do believe sometimes a child act out because things are not right in certain places. And so, in that one of those places could actually be food. And so, if that child is hungry and the teacher, they're sitting there trying to learn, but that child is steady focused on his stomach growling or the fact he skipped breakfast or whatever, or when he knows when he goes home, there's no food, and he's eating the meal, he or she is eating the meals there at school, then it really puts a strain, I feel like, on those teachers and the educators because they're trying to figure out ways also to not just meet the need of teaching that child, but also meet the need of making sure that child has the proper nourishment as well.
Absolutely. And I want to add to that. I do think that when we think about how the food may be affecting the children, there is a factor of that food affecting those adults as well, those teachers, those administrators, and in addition to them having a hard time handling the children who may be slightly out of control, I think we may be having a bunch of cases of administrators and children who possibly may be out of control if they're consuming the same types of foods, which we know most people are. They're going to the same grocery stores from Piggly Wiggly's all the way to Wegmans.
Right? Processed food is, we won't start down that rabbit hole, but I just feel like I compare the way my grandparents ate growing up, and my grandmother actually lived to be about 89, I do believe, and I was like, knowing the food that she grew up on, like they grew up eating the cow, the pig, the collards,
Yeah,
and all of that. And I
sure.
had to say to myself, okay, what's the difference between eating that food now than it was back then? And I think about my grandparents that they actually grew up on a farm. So the food that they were eating, they were pretty much, you know, growing it, whatever, attending to the animals or whatever. So to me, I feel like that's the total difference. They weren't injecting chickens and things with different stuff to make them grow faster. The chicken ran around out there free until they kind of
I'm
ran
glad you
into.
I'm glad you brought that up because I want to touch on that. So when I think about like today, I'm driving down the street. I'm coming home. I see this man walking his dog, and I guess the dog may have pooped. So he's cleaning the poop up, and I'm looking at this, and then I'm looking at somebody cutting their grass. Right, they're bagging up the grass. Right. Well, the next layer of the earth has not been being properly placed back onto the earth so that we would have nutritious soil so that we could grow nutritious food. And I would say that this is a big reason why we're having the problems that we're having. What would you got anything to add to that, Miss Uganda?
Well, I definitely, from my experience as a teacher, I know that when a child isn't fed, like Miss Renee said, how can he learn? So I had children that wouldn't have breakfast in the morning, and we would have to make sure they'll have an attitude and grumpy. But it took the teachers like myself that were able to look past that and maybe show them a little bit more nurturing and care and sit them down, let them take a 5 or 10 minute nap, and then get them up, wash their face, and feed them a nutritious meal. And if that meal isn't available, then we knew that we were going to have a bad day. So making sure, I would love to see, I know me and Miss Renee talked about this, but community like gardens within the school system, let the children grow their own food. Uh, in addition to the nourishment that comes from it, it's a lesson in growing. It's a lesson in watching something come from a seed to flourishing it to being able to harvest it and ingest it. Like that's a whole process that I think children can definitely learn from with the right people in place.
I agree. I was driving past Sanford Elementary School, and they have a like a community garden, maybe for the children built, or I'm not sure exactly how it happened, but it looks like it needed a little bit of care. And I'm just sitting back like, yeah, what you're saying makes perfect sense. Like every school needs to have a garden. It needs to have basic stuff that they grow there: basil, tomatoes,
Yeah.
maybe some kind of greens or something, some flowers, and then the children, they build it, so they can get their hands in there. They can really get an understanding of what has to happen, the pH balance of the soil. They need to understand that those plants need minerals, water, sunlight, and airflow. So yeah, like that's a great move. Now let me ask you this: how do we implement that? How do we make that happen? Where is the starting point?
I think making sure that our elected officials are aware and make them have that conversation about nutrition, with groups, organizations like Hampton Roads Urban Agriculture. Like Renee, if she was supported, I could see her having gardens and teaching students in classrooms all across Newport News. So I think that question will really lie in this budget, or why isn't she supported to be able to do this work that she already does so well in the East End with the farmers market, the partnerships that she has flourished. It's amazing the ecosystem that's right there in that urban farm. I
I
can't even
agree.
call it a community garden anymore because it's an urban farm.
Miss Renee, if you don't mind, let's really dive deep into what you're doing with this community effort. Like I mean, it's amazing. Like I drove down there some years back, and I was so impressed with the irrigation system that I had to stop through and talk to somebody, ask somebody about this place. And next thing you know, like I'm in there. I'm hanging out on a regular basis. I'm part of the farmers market, and it was like being with family every day, you know. And we had so many different talents and abilities of people who were part of this farmers market, that right in downtown Newport News, right there on Jefferson Avenue. Please dive deep into that.
So, the whole idea, I've always called it more than a garden, more than just a garden. Growing up in Georgia, a lot of stuff was centered around food, right? The hard conversations would happen at the table. Good conversation would happen at the table. And so I was like, can we take it a step further and create that space where hard conversations can be had. Good conversation can be had. We can celebrate, we can cry, we can laugh, we can do all that right there in the midst of the garden, and have done all of that right there in the midst of it. And just then just doing the garden itself, there's so much healing that take place by just having your hands in the soil, right? Um, like the soil just absorbs all of the things that's going on with you. I feel like sometimes you can go out there and you can just, you can be having a bad day, but you put your hands in the soil, and the soil helps heals what's going on. And then from looking at the irrigation system and how we actually grow out there, we do what we call no-till regenerative agriculture with a little twist of permaculture in there, where we interplant stuff. We try to really heal the land itself, by not taking from it and adding stuff to it like pesticides. So we're not using any pesticides out there. Everything that we use is natural or organic. And then just doing things that will help replenish the nutrients in the soil. So if I'm growing, like right now, I got cucumbers growing, but in the midst of the cucumbers are planted in the midst of clover.
Mm.
Everybody looked at me funny when I did that. I was like, well, cucumbers need the nitrogen the clover gives off, and I'm trying to keep the grass back. So instead of putting some chemicals down to kill the grass, I was like, let's sow these clover seeds and see what's happened. See what happens. So far so good. They're thriving. They're looking great. So
That's
And
awesome.
we,
Can you tell us
yeah.
a little bit about some of the vendors who come to the farmers market and the products and services they bring with them?
So forgive me for names. Uganda will probably do better with names of businesses that come
Yeah,
out
she's
over here.
she's the community advocate.
Yeah. I know like I know a couple of them by first name.
Hey,
Um,
you, Miss Uganda, you want to jump in here and you want to throw out some of these vendors? We want to shout out, give some love to all of them who've been coming out supporting the community.
I can, but I don't know their media platforms
Me
Oh,
either.
it's all good.
either.
It's all
But
good.
I
Okay.
know the young lady, like I always, the gems and the oils that she has are amazing. I know you always have different vendors out there, but I just appreciate the opportunity. Like she opens it up for people. I'm like, Miss Renee here's because I'm a connector. That's what I do. And I introduce everyone to Renee. And I'm like, hey, this is Renee. And when she finds out they have a business, she'll be like, okay, how can I work with you? It's just that, like you said, it's a feeling of community that is fostered in food. We need more community members to take ownership and come out and start like helping us harvest and all those great things, but also support the farmers market because it is us, it's our community, is keeping our money in our community, it's letting that black dollar circulate. So and then it's a beautiful place to just vibe and network. I met so many phenomenal people out there, from artists to poets to people who I even have grounding partners. One thing we didn't talk about is the need to ground yourself, and just walk outside barefooted. And the garden is a safe place to do that. So,
That's a
beautiful
fact right there.
aspect. Yeah.
So let's go ahead and thank you for that. Let's go ahead and shift a little bit, right? There's a few different platforms that you wanted to share with the people, Uganda, and I could go ahead and pull them up if you're cool with it.
Okay. So if you could do the HRU, that's Hampton Roads Urban Ag, we're going to show your website. There you go, Miss Renee.
Oh, that's us.
You want to talk a little bit through your website or what people can find here?
So yeah, basically, you can find out what programs that we have to offer. That's an actual picture of the urban farm. Those are actual picture of people out there working their little hearts out. Um, Everything is real except for that middle picture. No strawberries in the ground this year, but we do offer a youth program that we love so much that includes drone, has a STEM piece to it. And then any classes, if you're looking to volunteer, you're able to volunteer. If you're looking to supporters, there's also that donate button to help us out as well. And if you're just looking for information from us, you can use the get in touch part there and send us an email, and we would definitely respond to you.
Awesome. No, I love the website. Set up very nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, hey, everybody out there, all y'all listeners out there, all y'all watchers out there, go to HRURBANAG.org. Go there right now. All right, everybody, go there and get into contact and say, hey, we watched the video. It was dope. We just want to show some love. And I'm matter of fact, I'm about to go ahead and put the website on the screen for everybody who might have some trouble seeing it because it's small right there. All right. Listen, y'all go to that website and y'all show some support. All right. Everybody, y'all go right now. All right. Like, no matter who you are, no matter where you are in the world, you're probably like, well, I ain't never been to Virginia before. I ain't never been to America before. Listen, go to that website and send some support. Okay. All right. We need everybody to work together in this. This is about group economics. Let's get it in. All
That's
right.
right. That's right. There's many ways that you can support. Check her out.
Definitely.
Absolutely. So let's go ahead and keep touching these sites. So this is another one. Did you want to touch this one, Miss Uganda?
Well, this is Miss Latanya Abyss. You see her there with the black fro in the front is Miss Latoya Breckenridge, and everyone knows Miss Kalia right there. Community warriors live in Newport News, live downtown Newport News. They're really fighting, have always fought against gun violence. Unfortunately, Kalia lost her father to gun violence and has been a warrior since. In hip hop culture, Abyss, Latoya, excuse me, Latanya, that's how like she's known because she is phenomenal with laying down the lyrics and a linguist with words, but her passion is definitely stopping gun violence, bringing awareness and systems that work against that. So right here, community network services, they are strengthened nonprofit. They basically support what Abu Unity is doing. And Abu Unity is Latanya's organization. The Victor program is what she is launching, and it's an anti-violence, anti-gang youth organization. I know they were hiring, looking for people who are influential within communities like Marshall Courts, Aqueduct area. Uh, so if you want to be a part of the team, make sure you check it out and join the team there. And who's this? Oh, the Choice Neighborhood Initiative. Yes. So that is all the transformation that is happening. Oh my goodness. From 36th Street, 37th Street, down to the waterfront with Piggly Wiggly, with Ridley Circle being torn down. Check out the website. There's a lot of opportunity. The Choice Neighborhood. Hey, my neon baby. So she was dressed up like the 80s today, right? Or the 90s.
Yeah, let me take the blue.
Oh, I can't hear her.
I think the Bluetooth still has him.
Okay.
Oh.
Sorry about that. My microphone was off. She didn't hear what she said. What'd you say? Miss Uganda, what'd you say?
Oh, I was saying, what was she dressed up, the 80s or the 90s today? In her neon.
Yeah.
80s. I said she took me back, Renee. She had on a whole neon outfit, the skirt and everything.
It was the latest for me.
I love it. Oh, that's the early to Head Start. Go back up. Okay, so that's the early Head Start. It's actually Peak. Peak is in Hampton right now, and they're actually expanding right here on 18th and no 16th and Jefferson. So it's an early Head Start school, a daycare. They specialize or accept children 6 months to like 3. But hopefully they'll be open next year to start accepting children. And the beautiful part about this school is that Virginia Peninsula Community College will be operating in the evening. They're going to have a streamline to education. So people who are interested in early childhood education are becoming a teacher. They can attend that school at night,
That's
which is
amazing.
yeah, it's amazing. It's a whole pipeline and coming. That actually doesn't look like that. That was the concept, but just I encourage people to ride down Jefferson. If you haven't been down Jefferson Avenue in some time, ride down Jefferson Avenue and just check out all the developments that are happening, and know that the people's voice has truly been at the table at since the start of this. And we keep it's a struggle, it's a fight, but we keep fighting.
Yeah, we got to keep going. We got to keep taking steps.
Have to.
Absolutely. So, I really appreciate Miss Renee. I really appreciate Miss Uganda, the both of y'all coming on to the platform today for Community Roundtable. I think that this is something that we need to do every week, and we need to bring as many leaders into the room as possible because these conversations need to be had. We need to work together, and this is how we achieve group economics at higher levels is by us working together. Everybody's got different gifts and talents, Everybody's got different educational levels. Everybody's got this and everybody's got that. But when everybody takes what they have and they pull it together, now we got this instead of these.
Amen. Amen.
So,
And we need that in the community, because systematic spiritual warfare has been waged against us for a very long time. And if we are to make it through these pitfalls and barriers and all these different things that are designed to slow us down or stop us, if we are to do that, we are to do it together.
That's right.
definitely.
Miss Renee, you want to say you have anything closing words?
No, I love what he said, that we are stronger together, and it is the spiritual warfare of the enemy, or however you want to put it, to keep us apart. Because they see the strength that we've had from our ancestors and on back. Like we have been a people of survival, right? But now we are moving from survival to thriving and resiliency. And I do believe the more and more that we come together and more we look out for our communities the way we have done in days of old, that we will continue to strive and thrive.
I agree. Thank you so much.
Yeah. We have to uplift family. I love when your daughters be invading in on your space, because that's what people need to see and be proud of is family. Like my family is welcome. They don't like to come anymore because they got grown and they're tired of community events. But they will come with me everywhere. And I celebrated my husband. Well, I celebrate my husband, my children. We have to uplift the things that we have forgotten, where our strength comes from. And there's so many genocides on our people, whether it's spiritual or physical or, through food, injecting our food. So we have to unite on these different platforms and different levels and understand that we're different. We are totally different, but there's a common goal. All of us want to see our legacies. We want to see our children flourish. We want to see great things beyond ourselves. And the only way that we can accomplish that is by coming together.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. So listen, everybody. I want y'all all out there to know this, okay? Community Roundtable is open to everyone. All right. It's open to everyone out there who considers themselves a leader, right? This is a platform for leaders to come up here and talk, right? So that is not determined by your title. That is not determined by your how much money you bring in per year or any of that. None of that determines that. The only thing that determines if you're a leader is you, right? So if you show up here and you come into this platform, understand you a leader, right? So we need some leaders. All y'all leaders in the community, and don't matter what community you in. Don't matter whether you in California, you in Mexico, you in Virginia, Florida, doesn't make a difference. All right. We all need to come together because everybody's got valuable input, right? So thank y'all again for listening. Thank y'all for tuning in. Thank the ladies, Miss Yugonda, Miss Renee, for showing up and giving y'all's measures. Really appreciate y'all. And listen. Expose your gift.